dream I had. I dreamed I'd gone to the movies to see a show called War Brides. Now, usually when you think of war brides, you think of women married to soldiers who have gone off to war and the kind of things they go through when they're at home. This was nothing like that. This was about an outbreak of these deadly flies in a hospital and how all the women and children had been abandoned by the doctors and hospital staff when a group of heroic Good Samaritans ran in to try and help them, and everybody died. Well, I went to the theater to watch this, and as we were getting settled in to start the movie, I looked off to my left and noticed that there was a Christian Orthodox wedding ceremony going on one side of the theater, and on the other side of the theater we were all there to watch the movie. As soon as the movie started, I was in the movie, and it began with me going into a bank where a robbery was just starting. You know, the robbers and I, we all walked in together, and they pulled out their guns and told everyone to get on the floor. As we were getting on the floor, I made some kind of a comment or did or said something the bank robbers didn't like, and so one of them came over and he pushed me down with the heel of his boot, and I thought for sure he was going to shoot me right in the back of the head. But it turns out that this robber was not interested in adding murder to his list of crimes. He just wanted control of the room. So instead, he peed on me, which was really gross, but I guess better than getting shot. I never really die in my dreams, and this was in some ways more horrific than that. But after the bank robbery, I and this guy I work with, we had gone to a gas station to get these giant sodas, and as we were filling up, I got a phone call, and because of the phone call, I ended up getting into a fight with the owner of the gas station, and it was this big thing. But while we were there, we noticed a lot of people running in one direction, so we went out to see what was going on. Turns out this was the hospital staff and the doctors abandoning the hospital and leaving all the women and children behind to die when this plague of deadly flies grew out of control. Well, I decided it was better to rush in and try to rescue people, even if it meant dying myself, than letting these women and children die. So I rushed in, and I was doing my best to try and clear people out, but there were flies all over the place, and it hurt when they bit. I would try to brush them off and get them out, away from my body, but in the end there were too many flies and there was nothing I could do. So I ended up dead, like everyone else. And while myself, the other rescuers, and the women and children were there in the, I guess you call it the waiting room for the afterlife, I was told that we could still fix this. We could still stop this from happening, but I would need to go back into not just life, but back in time. So angels or God or whatever sent me back in time to a few hours, or till just before the bank robbery. So I went back in time and knew what was about to happen, so I made some different choices. I don't remember what those choices were, but I do remember that as time went on, different things would come back to me to show what was happening from the first timeline in my current timeline. Things like, a report of the bank robbery, the phone call that I got at the gas station. Other things were showing up to let me know that time was still unfolding kind of the way it should have, but this time it was different because I was making different choices. Well, as soon as I saw the women and children being abandoned by the hospital staff, I rushed in, and because I'd made different choices, and because I guess time travel, somebody was there to hand me this can of insect spray, some kind of insecticide. So I went in and I was using it to try and get the bugs off myself, get the bugs off the women and children. Meanwhile, these bugs were also, instead of just being deadly flies, they had started evolving into these giant moths and huge beetles, the kind of giant bugs you usually only see on display at the zoo. But they were all over the place, they were dying, and thanks to this bug spray I had been given, I was able to rescue the women and the children. The war brides, I had rescued them from this deadly plague. Well, because this was kind of a happier ending, the movie changed from one about bank robbery, fighting, death, time travel, all those kind of things. It changed into a comedy. So because the women and the children and myself and the other rescuers were finally getting out of the hospital, somebody had figured out how to make this outdoor man-made waterfall they turned up the water and turned it into more of a giant whitewater rapids. And so to celebrate surviving the incident, we all jumped in and we were swept down this waterfall. If you like this Wolf I've Shucked, please shuck one of your own in the comments, and I would love it if you would subscribe. Thanks.